Hello and welcome to another episode of my Facts and Glitches series, where I continue to showcase more of what I've learned about GTA 5 in my almost 14,000 hours of playing the game and from my awesome viewers. GTA 5 speedrunners have discovered a groundbreaking new strategy to massively increase the speed of all heavy vehicles in story mode and online. These vehicles have a feature in their code called engine underload, which causes them to only shift past first gear if you apply 100% acceleration. It was discovered that if you use a controller and only apply 99 or less % acceleration, the vehicle will never shift past first gear. This matters because due to the game's particular physics, staying in first gear results in the vehicle having both higher acceleration and higher top speed. In a straight line, staying in first gear saves roughly 8 seconds per minute traveled, with the added bonus that it is far easier to get up hills. While it's possible to gain significant benefit naturally by just never fully pressing your acceleration trigger, you obviously won't be able to balance on 99% to maximize the benefit. However, there are programs like DS4 Windows that can cap your controller to 99% to achieve this. Of course, it's important to remember that 100% acceleration is still better on every other vehicle, so such modifications can't be permanently kept on. An added bonus of this glitch is that it amplifies other driving exploits like brake boosting and curb boosting. It can even be used with Franklin's power to great effects. This new strategy saves time on pulling favors, the jewel store heist, fame or shame, skying the ports, mini-sub, blitz play, military hardware, and Pac-Man, totaling a minute of basically free time save. It is also very useful in GTA Online. For example, it saves time on nightclub cell missions that use the Pounder custom, or just whenever you drive your Terabyte or Acid Lab. Rockstar is aware of this issue, as many of the newly released heavy vehicles like the APC, Hauler Custom, and Phantom Custom have a fix in their code to address this issue. It is literally called "Don't hold low gears when engine underload."
Hey, what's cracking?
After Franklin made his return to GTA Online with the Contract DLC, 2 cars were added to the driveway of his Vinewood home. A red Fiesta Astron for Tanisha, and a white and green Pegasi Ignis for Franklin. Rockstar did a pretty good job at preventing the players from messing with these cars, because normally we can't interact with them in any way. However, they forgot to stop us from being able to pick up the cars with a Cargobob. Surprisingly though, the cars will disappear when you've moved a significant distance away from the house, which somewhat suggests that they did remember that we could pick them up. But if that's the case, why did they not stop us from lifting them up at all? The Safe House in the Hills update surprisingly added a part of Red Dead Redemption 2 into GTA Online with the piano in the mansions. There are 3 different songs that the piano will automatically play. The classic Maple Leaf Rag, the slower yet still playful Le Banjo, and the darker sounding Bambula. Each of these songs actually featured first in Red Dead Redemption 2, and you can hear them being played within the various saloons in the game. Trevor's special ability is well known for making him immune to damage, but it also gives other lesser known benefits. For a start, Trevor deals double damage while it's active. This is true for punching, kicking, and shooting. You also don't lose any stamina, which is most easily seen during the triathlons, as your stamina is always visible. You can see here it's going down until I use my power, which stops it, and it resumes dropping when I turn my power off. One more interesting fact is that while you can't normally activate Trevor's power while falling or parachuting, there is exactly one place that's an exception to this, which is the Vespucci helipad parachute jump. You might now assume that you can land directly in the boat with Trevor's power active without ever pulling your parachute. However, this is incorrect. For some reason, Trevor's power is purely visual. You will still die of fall damage even with it active. That is unless you're playing an older version of the game where Trevor's power acts as it should. This is of course beneficial for speedrunning. However, consistently landing in the boat is so difficult that to this day, no runners actually use this unique strat in their runs.
I didn't think you were gonna make it!
The mission Father-Son attempts to direct you to a particular Los Santos customs at the airport so that Hal can repair your car.
Now that doesn't sound good!
But things get interesting if you go to a different LS customs. The first oddity is that you will still hear Hal's lines despite the fact that he isn't present.
Still need to get you out for one of the races, Franklin. See if you drive as fast as you talk.
Once you select to repair your car, When you leave, the car will still be smoking as if you had not repaired it, and the mission won't let you progress. You can in fact re-enter and pay to have your car fake repaired as many times as you like. Eventually, of course, you run out of money, which results in you being stuck because you can no longer afford to have your car repaired at the one LS Customs that apparently is able to do it. Honestly, it's interesting that there's no fail condition for running out of money, but you can of course just mission fail another way to get all your money back so you can progress. If the mission Bury the Hatchet is started with Michael, we experience Trevor get angry at Michael before he then drives off, seemingly with the goal of getting a plane from his airfield and flying to North Yankton. However, it turns out if you quickly grab a bike from your garage and chase after him, we experience something very different. Firstly, Trevor will not acknowledge Michael at all, and when Michael calls him, Trevor will not be using his phone, and his lips will also not be moving.
Fuck your pizza, fuck everything it stands for!
This is insanity!
Following him also reveals that he does not head to his airfield at all. Instead, he just drives aimlessly around the general Vinewood area with an appropriately very reckless driving style. What's more surprising is that Trevor would not react when you shoot at him, and blowing up his car with him in it would not cause a mission fail. Early ending A achieved. GTA 5 speedrunners have discovered that the internet in the game is actually a powerful tool to stop characters from speaking to each other. You just need to open it at the right time for entire lines of dialogue to be skipped, saving heaps of time. For example, during the Sussel Big Score heist, when you arrive to ambush the gold in the vans, the gang will have a long conversation before the cutscene begins.
Alright, here we go. This is it.
However, if you open the internet just as Trevor finishes saying who they're getting into it with,
Who they're getting into it with?
Alright, here we go. This is it.
the rest of the dialogue is skipped, and the cutscene starts 13 seconds earlier. Many of these skips have particular requirements. This one requires you access the internet through an ammunition email. Some waypoints in the game won't activate unless a certain amount of dialogue is finished, and others simply won't progress until a character finishes the line they're currently speaking. So understandably, this dialogue skipping is used a dozen times in the run, and it saves collectively a minute if every skip is successful. With that being said, it is very difficult to get the timing perfect for every skip over the entire run.
You are so trendy, T.
On the mission Caida Libre, Martin asks Michael to shoot down a plane using a mounted anti-aircraft gun in the back of a van next to the observatory. However, when you use the gun and look around, it's very obvious that you can't possibly be shooting from the observatory. It turns out that the game actually has you firing from the top of the Weasel Plaza building, presumably to make it easier for the player. Although Michael is not even placed there for this task, and is instead placed around the side of the observatory while the shooting is taking place. Rockstar doesn't care about your crew member in the Paleto Score, regardless of who you pick. There are 5 possible options. The good, which are Gustavo Packy and Chef, and the bad, which are Norm and Daryl. The major difference between these two groups is that the good crew members survive the heist, and the bad crew members get hit by a car midway through and are therefore abandoned. What's interesting though is that if you take a good crew member, they can be killed without any repercussions after the time when the bad crew member would have died. There's simply no fail condition for taking any of them out. Even more surprising is that the loot won't be impacted at all, despite that your crew member, now being dead, could not possibly escape with the loot. This little cutscene that plays as you enter Los Santos Customs used to be skippable in single player and online by simply opening your weapon wheel and spamming the action button. Unfortunately, Rockstar disabled this in GTA Online a long time ago. However, this skip is still possible to achieve, but by another method. You can instead quickly open your pause menu and then close it again, which achieves the same effect. This is something you may as well do because it saves you time every time you go to the mechanics. The CEO offices and mansions in GTA Online both have a miniaturized map displaying the entire in-game world, but surprisingly, they are not the same map. The map in the office still includes the old casino, and is missing the Vinewood residence and Richmond Villa mansions. The newer map in the mansions, on the other hand, features the Diamond Casino as well as the 3 new mansions. You might wonder whether the CEO office has the old or new version of Devin Weston's mansion. Unfortunately, the map is cut off in a way that it doesn't show that area of the map. Although the many differences between these maps shows that Rockstar didn't just lazily copy the old map, they made a new one specifically for the mansions. The artwork available in the GTA Online mansions appears to have many references. Point of Contact showcases Trevor's trailer, as well as a UFO on top of Mount Chiliad. Consideration Vinewood shows a weird mix of Devin Weston's old mansion from single player and the new Tongva Estate mansion which replaced it. It lacks the solar panels on the roof, the poolside hut, and whirlpool from the modern mansion, but it does include this staircase on the left and the roof hut that were not present at Devon's old mansion. The name of this painting being Consideration Vinewood is a bit strange, as neither version of the mansion is in Vinewood, but I guess you could hypothetically stand around considering Vinewood from anywhere. Abstraction 4 is just a map of GTA 4 in abstract colors. In the shade is a painting of Guarma from Red Dead Redemption 2, and it is the same painting found on the walls in the Braithwaite Manor in the game. Another interesting detail about this painting is that it was painted by Charles Chatenay, who has his own set of side missions in that game called The Artist's Way. Dogs d'Amour appears to showcase the memorable scene from the mission Chop, where Chop interacts with another dog. Tide of Progression is a reference to the famous Japanese painting, The Great Wave of Kanagawa. Contemplating Los Santos shows a person standing in the same spot as Dom during Franklin's Targeted Risk side mission. Making Waves shows off a boat that could be a subtle reference to Michael's boat, which gets stolen during the mission Father-Son. Inside Beaker's garage in Paleto Bay, there is an advertisement book from the company Principe with a bagger on its cover. However, this seems to be an error, because the bagger is made by Western, not Principe. In fact, the book underneath it is also incorrect, as it shows Steel Horse as being the manufacturer of the Hexer. The Hexer is actually made by Liberty City Cycles, and there are no vehicles in the game produced by Steel Horse. So that's the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. If you think you know of anything that will be of interest to this series, feel free to add it to my Discord. I hope you're all doing well.